Well, welcome back to the Music Void here on Friday, the 20th June at London Calling. I have Pim Betist here with me, the founder of Sellaband, the unique new artist-friendly where fans can actually buy and become part of the artist's sort of career. So Pim, you used to work in the corporate world with Shell, is that correct? What made you actually decide to move into a more riskier career as an entrepreneur in the music business?
It's a combination of two things. One is that I was actually quite bored of the music that was fed to me by the music industry. All new artists that were signed kind of sounded like artists that I already knew. And I saw so many cool new bands when I went out and saw them at live venues, and I would ask them, are you making any money? Are you signed to a label? And none of them were. That's one. The other is that a really good friend of mine makes crazy music, a mix of genres of classical, punk, and electro. And he was never going to be signed by a label. I knew that, but I loved his music, and I thought if I love his music, at least 5,000 people on a global level should love his music. And then I thought, there's Friendster, there's MySpace, and why not, instead of just becoming friends, chip in $10, and if 5,000 people do that, we have $50,000, then he can realize his dream. And that's how I came up with the concept.
Okay. And when was Sellaband actually established and set up?
It was, we started August 2006.
Okay.
With 4 bands. We approached 4 bands. We asked them if they could sign up, and so we could go live with some content on there. My mom bought the very first part in a gothic metal band called Nemesis.
Right.
And they were the very first to make the 50,000 after about 2 months.
Right. Okay. And so was there VC funding behind the startup of the venture?
No.
Or is it?
No.
It's all organically grown.
Now there is, but when we started, we call the investors, we call them believers, right?
Yeah.
And we found a believer,
okay,
a big believer, to fund the company when we started off.
Okay. So how does it actually work, like Sellaband? How is it? Can you explain the business
let me
model?
finish, because when we had that angel believer actually invest in the company. After about 1 year, we saw, okay, we need some more money, and then we found Prime Technology, and they invested €3.5 million in Sellaband, which will give us enough funding to hit break even in a few years.
Okay, that's great. And so how does the business model work? Can you explain and break it down for us?
Yeah. Well, as an artist, you can sign up free of charge. You can make a profile page just like on MySpace, Bebo, or Hives in Holland. And you can load up 3 of your best tracks. And music fans can then listen to your music. And when they really love your music, they can become a believer by buying parts of your music. Each part costs $10. Once 5,000 of these parts have been sold, we have $50,000. We then use that full budget to record an album and to send it to all the believers. And we number it as well, so you can show that you were the first or the last to believe in the artist. And then we start selling the album through Amazon, iTunes, eMusic, Rhapsody, all the retailers that are out there. And we split the income in 3. 1/3 goes to the believers, 1/3 goes to the artists, and 1/3 stays with us.
Okay. And so does Sellaband actually end up owning any of the copyright in the recordings at all? Or?
Yeah, we do. We own the rights of all the songs that are recorded with us.
Okay.
But the contract is made in such a way that the artist is always free to sign with the label to move on in the career. We see ourselves as a trampoline at the beginning of the value chain of the music industry, because now the music industry is very much like a funnel. There's a lot of bands, and they're all trying to get into that funnel, and then there's just a few bands who come out of the funnel, and there's just all these fans below the funnel that are seeking new music. They're not getting it.
Okay. Now there are a number of new models coming out of the woods. Who, in your mind, is your closest competitor?
There are a lot of entrepreneurs who are inspired by the success of Sellaband, and I'm very happy that they're here, because if you have a bakery, and you sell good bread, there's other bakeries can be around. But Slice of Pie comes closest to what we do, because they also allow funding in bands.
Okay. So how is Sellaband different from Slice of Pie, or Slice of Pie different from Sellaband?
There's a lot of, I mean, it's not even comparable,
Okay.
I think. The only thing is that they have the investments part in their model, but it's far less transparent because you can't see who's, investing in what artist.
Right.
And second of all, the people of Slice the Pie don't guide the artist once the money is made. So they simply transfer the money, and the band can do with the money whatever they want.
Right.
Now, if you're a band who knows exactly what to do with the money, has a network of all the studios that you want to work with and the producer that you want to work with, then you're fine. But many of the unsigned bands need the guidance and need our network and professional advice in making as much as possible quality from that $50,000. So we don't believe in just giving the money. We believe in guiding and also giving distribution channels that can help the artist sell more. We have a partnership with Amazon.co.uk and also in Germany and France, and Ball.com in Holland, and which basically gives us an exclusive store on Amazon and a link on the homepage to that store, which enables us to sell a lot more records.
I'm sure, the click-through rate must be quite reasonably high. That's good. Then, what are some of the artists who've actually broken through buying your service? Like, how many have...
Well, it depends on what you mean with breaking through.
Well, have reached the 50,000 investment from their believers and have gone on to record an album and possibly even release that album.
Up until now, $2 million has been invested in unsigned bands on Sellaband. 22 artists made the $50,000 threshold. It might be so that as we speak, it's 23, because Electric Eel Shock is at 45.
Okay.
So 45,000 basically means last day. So if you want to get your Electric Eel Shock, you better be quick. We've released 9 albums. So 9 albums are already done. The money's been spent. And from those 9, there's one album by Julia Marcel that is getting a lot of positive feedback from the radio stations in Holland. They're actually playing her.
Okay.
She's playlisted in Holland at 3FM, which is, the mainstream radio station.
That's great. And so what does the future hold, Pim, in terms of Sellaband?
We need to, now, we're this sympathetic, nice little music company. And we want to become a movement, so everything needs to be times 10. Instead of 2 million, 20 million, or maybe even 200 million invested in new bands. So we really need to grow. And in order to grow, there's a few strategies. One is organic growth, the other is through maybe a hit. So we're hoping that one of the bands will actually make a hit so people can see the impact that we're having on the music industry. But we're opening an office in London. We just opened it last week. We're going to open an office in New York, and we're going to just increase our presence by going to these conferences right here, by telling the press about what we're doing and releasing more and more good albums. There's going to be a big party in Amsterdam. We call it Celebration 08. It's going to be our second annual party. We're expecting 2,000 people. There's going to be 10 bands from 4 different continents, and they're going to be playing.
When is that happening?
That's going to be 15th of August in Paradiso, Amsterdam.
Yeah, I've been to your New Year's glitter ball in Paradiso, I think it is in Amsterdam.
Yeah. It's a great venue. Yeah.
Okay, and so commercially, when will Sellaband see a profit, or when are the projections to see a profit, if you can?
Yeah, if I knew, I'd probably be there, but we're expecting 2010. We're still burning money, but around 2010 we should be making some profit.
Okay, that's good. And so, finally, what is the media view or perception? How is that going to the media coverage be in terms of the new model?
Amazing and horrible. So,
like chalk and cheese.
It was really interesting to see because the financial newspapers were the very first to write about it. Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, all these type of, CNN, the business type media, very, very positive about this new business model. And then the music press was really, skeptical, wouldn't write about us. Now, slowly it's changing.
So do you think that's because there's vested interest in playing this sort of your business model as a threat to the traditional label models?
Which is not the case. We're not a threat at all because we're injecting the industry with new music, new content. So I really didn't understand why they were so skeptical about us. But now, the music magazines are writing about us and are seeing the impact, and I'm really, really happy that they are, because for us that's the engine behind Sellaband. It's the media.
That's great. Look, thank you very much for giving us your time here at the Music Void, Pim. And we wish you every success, and we might perhaps still follow up in 6 months or so, perhaps go across to that celebration party.
Excellent. I'd love to see you there.
Great.